Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing and theorising roughly when Halo Wars 2 is going to be set, whether it's going to be set after Halo 5 or before Halo 5. There's quite a lot of evidence to support both sides of the argument, so we're going to break down this evidence, and I'm also going to give you my opinion as to when I think it's going to be set. Real quick before we get started, if you could leave a like, that would mean the world to me. So we're going to begin with the argument supporting Halo Wars 2 being set before Halo 5. Now the first one of these is the legendary ending of Halo Wars 1, which supports Serena not being rampant, as when she talks she sounds stable and, well, not rampant really.
Captain, wake up. Something has happened.
She was put into service in 2530, and AIs, smart AIs specifically, go rampant after 7 years, and if Halo Wars 2 continues directly on from this legendary ending, like the original trailer from Gamescom last year suggested, then Halo Wars 2 should be set before 2537. However, there is always the possibility that Serena joined the Created and was cured of her rampancy by Cortana, but again, this means that she'd be left in a rampant state for over 20 years, which is a hell of a long time to be left rampant. Secondly, the use of old tech, weapons, armor, etc. suggests that the Spirit of Fire hasn't been found yet, and you'd think that within 25 years of it being missing, then it would have been found, but I guess it's equally as likely that it still hasn't been found, even in 2558 after Halo 5. I'll explain something that supports this specifically when we look at the other side of the argument, but as it stands, this point is kind of a weak one. And my final point to support Halo Wars 2 being set before Halo 5 is that the Brutes seem heavily armed, which is something that they most definitely aren't after the Human Covenant War. Most of them, for those who are unaware, went back to Doizak, which is their homeworld, where they fought among themselves and basically put themselves back into the Stone Age. Now, this means that the Brutes that we see in Halo Wars 2 may be Brutes from the original Sanshayum-led Covenant, given that they have a lot of gear, weaponry, and vehicles. However, the stuff that we've seen them with so far is all entirely new apart from the Locust, of course. And it's likely that if it was supplied by the Sanshayum, we probably would have heard about it. I mean, it's not a given fact considering that there are even species in the Covenant that we don't even know exist yet, but I think it's likely. Okay, so let's move on to the arguments that support Halo Wars 2 being set after Halo 5. Now, I'm going to be honest here, I previously was pretty nailed on that Halo Wars 2 was going to be set before Halo 5. I mentioned this in a couple of videos, including my Halo Wars 2 theory video, but the points that I'm about to bring up have completely caused me to do a U-turn on my opinion, and now I firmly believe that Halo Wars 2 is going to be set after Halo 5. So to kick it off, the Foundry world at the centre of the Ark in the leaked Halo Wars 2 picture that I discussed in a video the other day, link on screen right now, has been harvested, and pretty majorly harvested in fact. You can see that a lot of it has actually been taken apart and broken apart, and obviously used to repair the Ark. It's likely that this world is being harvested, as I just said, to repair the damage that was inflicted to the Ark by the firing of Installation 04B during the Human Covenant War. This obviously supports it being set after the Human Covenant War and after 2555, as nothing was reported about the Ark being repaired during Operation Farstorm during Halo Hunters in the Dark, which takes place in 2555. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that it takes place after Halo 5, but I mean, I don't see why they'd go back to pre-Halo 5 time if it's only going to be by a few years. Secondly, the frame in Halo Escalation, where we finally saw the Spirit of Fire again, leans more towards it taking place in 2558. The way that I read this frame was that it was a representation of the location of the Spirit of Fire as Lord Hood was talking about it, and seeing as this takes place sometime in 2558, were this true, it would of course mean that Halo Wars 2 does take place after Halo 5. So next up is something that actually managed to slip by me before, and this is something that Haruspis actually brought up on Halo Canon's E3 predictions video. It's a great video, I suggest you go check it out, link is in the description, and this thing is actually a wireframe model of a Spartan 4 in recruit armor attacking what looks like a Brute, but it's kind of hard to tell. It could be a Brute, could be a Sangheili, could be something entirely new, although I doubt that. This means that it has to take place at least after 2553, if not 2554, as that's when Spartan 4s were created in large numbers. However, I firmly believe that if it's set post-Human Covenant War, it's going to be set post-Halo 5 to avoid timeline confusion for those who aren't exactly the deepest lore fans, just for your regular Halo fan, who isn't maybe as into the lore as we are. And my final argument as to why Halo Wars 2 is going to be set post-Halo 5 is that the Brutes seem to be extremely heavily armed. Considering most of them pretty much regressed to being primitive after the war, this creates the question of how? Well, the Brutes would be one of the most likely candidates to side with the Created, seeing as their current state isn't exactly optimal for resource gathering and survival, which just happen to be two things that the Created can absolutely assure for a species. However, to earn these things, the Brutes obviously have to do things for Cortana and the Created, and helping control possibly the most important foreign artifact in the galaxy, the Ark, is something I can definitely see them helping with. This could also explain Serena not being rampant if the game does continue on from the Halo Wars 1 legendary ending, and is set post-Halo 5. Cortana could have easily cured Serena's rampancy with this new domain, given that Serena did join the Created, however. So where do I stand on this argument? Well, I've already kind of said that I completely U-turned from my previous belief that it was going to be set before Halo 5. I now believe firmly that it's going to be set after Halo 5, reason being that wireframe model of a Spartan 4 pretty much gave us our first piece of hard evidence to lean us towards this side of the argument. I mean, the rest of it is kind of just theorizing, whereas this is some actual near hard evidence, but I guess only time will tell. Oh yeah, let's also not forget that the Foundry world in the middle of the Ark has been harvested massively in that leaked picture. I know it's a leaked picture, but the source for that is pretty legit, so that kind of supports the fact that the Ark, at least in Halo Wars 2, is damaged, and it was damaged after the Human Covenant War, and before the Human Covenant War it was pretty much fine, so this lends a pretty big hand towards Halo Wars 2 being set after Halo 5. So I definitely want to hear what you guys think about this topic. Tell me in the comments down below when you think Halo Wars 2 is going to be set. Tell me a specific date, or just tell me if you think it's going to be set before Halo 5, after Halo 5, maybe even during Halo 5. Right now we're completely in the dark, so everything's kind of a guessing game. That's all for today guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.